you up in
One of the first things I wanted to discuss is, before we get started in exactly the ways that we will be talking about credit, how to best use it, and so on and so forth, is some motivation around it. Because one thing that we notice, and we all come from various positions around where our credit started, how we're doing with our credit currently, how we've done with our credit in the past. But we recognize that a lot of us have not been adequately prepared to handle credit, right? A lot of us have not been shown the ropes. They haven't broken it down. There hasn't been like you join the bank and then they have like a class for everybody about how this stuff works, right? At the end of the day, a lot of us have been ill prepared. And because we're ill prepared, we start with a card. We may have gotten student loans, right? We may have purchased a car or something like that. And we have to figure it out as we go. And what we start to recognize early on or somewhere along the lines is that it's actually a battlefield. Is that you didn't just wake up one day and someone gave you a card or some credit and it was that simple, but you actually had a lot of obstacles. You had a lot of difficulties. You had a lot of problems, things that you either faced in your life personally that interrupted your credit, or things that you just didn't understand about how credit works. And therefore, you have to learn how to fight against those things. And so the first thing is on the credit battlefield, you'll see a number of different obstacles, right? A number of things, whether it's the payday loans, whether it's the lack of education, right, that we're given in high school, whether it's the number of cards that were presented at a young age and how we're presented those cards. I mentioned another week that we sometimes get cards presented to us at the dental office after they say how much we have to owe them if we go through the procedure that we need to have. Or we may just be at Target or Nordstrom or Macy's and they say, would you like to have a credit card? And it's that simple, right? You say, yeah, I'd love to have 15% off my purchase today. And now I got myself into a world of trouble. But no one explained how much trouble I'm actually about to get into. And so I mentioned Ninja credit and Ninja motivation because what I recognize about the Ninja is that the Ninja is a fighter. The Ninja is not just someone that is walking around that is, I would say, harmless, that has no offensive actions, takes no proactive measures, but someone that has weapons, someone that has skills, someone that, again, is prepared for any type of battle. And this is how we ultimately have to proceed if we're going to end up on the other side of the credit journey. And this is, again, having great credit. This is being able to purchase things that we want to, have great interest rates, right? Have great credit card options, right? Having great options when it comes to the interest rates when we want to purchase a home or something like that. That's what we ultimately want to be. But we have to start off in the beginning. And so I want to read you guys the definition of a ninja. What is a ninja? A covert agent in feudal Japan, specializing in espionage, infiltration, sabotage, and unconventional warfare. Unconventional warfare. And it makes me think a lot, again, about the intentionality that we have when we get credit. That once you get credit, you have to have an intention to maintain it. You have to have an intention to grow it. You have to have an intention to do great with it because you want to have the maximum benefits from it. It's not something that to be approached passively. It's not something that we use in certain situations when we're in emergencies, but something that we use to ultimately benefit us in the long run. And so one thing that it makes me think about is the cow versus the buffalo. And I was watching this video the other day, and it said the difference between a cow and a buffalo is that a cow, if a storm approaches, the cow starts to run away. The cow and other animals too proceed in the opposite direction. The storm is coming this way, we say, we are leaving this way. The buffalo literally walks towards the storm. The buffalo literally not only walks towards the storm, but it is in the storm for less time because it walked towards it versus running from it. And because of that, or rather, what I want to say is that is the type of mentality that we have to have, right? Rather than say, I'm not going to check the mail, I'm not going to check my cell phone, right? I'm not going to check my credit score. I'm not going to check my credit report. I am going to stay as far away from the information, the knowledge, or even the opportunities to learn more about this stuff. And so when we start, oftentimes I say, give you guys yourselves a round of applause, because just showing up to stuff like this is how you end up on the other side of the journey, right? It's having that information, having those conversations with people, meeting people who understand, meeting people who want to understand more, right? Going to a workshop, going to some type of conference. These are the types of things that is going to get you prepared to win this battle. But again, walking towards the storm versus running from it. And this is one of the first things that I ran into in my personal life was when I had an issue with the IRS. And they said, you're going to pay us $1,000 or so, and you're going to have a payment plan. It's going to be $50 a month. And I remember as the payment started to decrease, or should I say, I had this many payments, that's 5 more payments, 4 more, 3 more. The more that they started to show up, I was like, oh, I can't wait till it shows up. Right now, I wanted to show up so I could pay this off and they could leave me alone. And then after I paid it all off, they sent me another notice, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to open the mail. Right? The attitude went from what am I going to do, right, if they reach out to me, to I wish they would. I wish they would. What is it that they have today? What do they have to say? Because now I understand, 1, how to handle these situations, but then 2, I know that I can handle these situations. Right? And so we have to have that type of approach with credit. It's not about getting away from our payments, but it's going, whatever I have to do to fight this, I will do that to the best of my ability. And then I want to get a better card, right? And then I want to be better with my next card that I have. If I get a different car, if I get myself into a mortgage, I want to do great at this. And so it's not about, again, running from payments, but running towards them. Let me try to pay it off, not just when they ask for me to pay it, but I want to pay it off early. I want to pay it off maybe a week in advance or 2 weeks in advance, right? And so it makes me also think about being proactive versus reactive, right? We want to be looking for the information. And that's when you can go onto your credit card app and see how much they say you owe. You could pay some now just to get it out the way. You could pay some on the statement date to get it out the way, or you could pay it again after the due date. But it's up to you, and you can be proactive in those types of situations. Yeah. And the last thing I want to mention is playing to win versus playing not to lose, right? When we're playing not to lose, what we often do is we play it safe, right? Well, I'm not going to purchase this because I don't know what's going to happen, or I'm not going to put this money on the card right now and pay that off because what if I need that money next week? What if I need that money tomorrow, right? But when you play to win, you start to think of ways that you can dominate. Right? You're thinking, how can I keep this balance 0 as long as possible, right? How do I keep my credit card utilization as low as possible instead of I'm just trying to get by, right? I'm trying to keep money in this account and I'm trying to pay off this at the same time. You start to also think about ways that you can get more money from other, again, side hustles, from other opportunities at work, so that you can actually pay those things off. But again, not just pay them off once, but pay them off regularly. And so I want you guys to be motivated because, again, you guys got to be on the offense. It's not it's not about running from it, especially if you want to get the low interest rates, and you want to make sure that when you purchase a home that you're good, right? You're good with those payments, and you're going to figure it out, and you have a plan, you have intentionality. You talk to your friends, you talk to your family about how much your payments are, and if you ever need any help, you can possibly talk to some folks, because they know that how intentional you are and how good your credit is. Not only are you going to pay the credit card company back, but you're going to pay them back, right? In those situations. So as we move forward, just continue to think, okay, this is going from being on the defense to being on the offense. So going from a novice to a credit ninja. So on you guys' papers, everybody has the credit ninja worksheet. So you guys are actually going to be filling this out as we go along. So check some of the boxes that are according to how you actually are moving with them now. Yep, credit ninja worksheet. Credit ninja worksheet.
Do you have any extra pens?
Thank you. How many who needs a pen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, about 8. All day, every day, right?
I need them all back.
Right. Oh yeah, keep your hands raised so she can pass them out.
Can we put our names on here?
Yeah. Those are yours.
I've got a different answer for number 2, and I'll write it on the side.
Yeah. I mostly think about it. Mhm. This is good. This is good. All right. When I use credit, I usually, one, act out of urgency or emotion. Urgency reminds me of emergencies, right? You're in a situation, so you use your credit card. Have some plan, but not always. And I use it only with clear intention. After I swipe my card, I mostly think about the minimum payment, the monthly bill, or the full payoff plan. This is so real. And my relationship with credit feels stressful, manageable, or strategic.
What you read from? Which one?
The Credit Ninja worksheet. And then the reflection at the bottom says, what level does your credit behavior most resemble? And so the ones that, if your answers are at the top, then that'll be the novice level. If your levels are at the bottom, right, strategic, the full payoff plan, use it only with clear intention, that's more Credit Ninja level. All right. So with that being said, how did people, one, feel about those questions, but then two is how did you land on those questions?
For me, number 2, I don't think about any of these, so I put my available balance. Because that's just like how much more credit do I have to? How much more to think about paying off? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's typically on my mind. Like how much more can I swipe first? Because then like it's like how much do I have left before I have to actually spend some cash?
Right.
So that's what I think about.
Okay. Okay, that is a different answer. And that's a little dangerous. That's a little dangerous.
Well,
You're like, but I still got 20,000, so we good.
Well, the way my credit card is so much of my check is transferred, so it's really cash technically. So I can't go too crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's good. It's good that you don't go too crazy. And I want to mention again, and we'll get into this, I think maybe in the next one. Yep. We'll get into credit utilization in just a second. All right. So this gets into the 5 factors of our credit, right? The breakdown of our credit scores. And the first one is payment history. So, right, one action you could take to improve in each area. My biggest opportunity here, payment history. So this is all about paying on time. Paying on time. What could you possibly do to pay on time better? But
Pay the minimum.
that's an option. But that also goes back to the last page, but that is an option. Because truthfully, if you're paying the minimum or not, if you're paying on time, you're paying on time, right? So that is better than not paying the minimum. I will say that, or paying the minimum late, right? But at the end of the day, paying on time is the biggest percentage at 35%. Credit utilization. And so for clarity, can anyone let me know what credit utilization is? No, it's a big word. Credit utilization.
What's the question?
Discipline.
What is credit utilization?
How you use discipline.
You said how much you use. Can you explain?
Like if you're at 35%, that's how much you use out of your allocated amount.
Right. So because these are just percentages in terms of the 100% of what our credit score is. However, to that very point, it's the percent of credit that you're using. So if you use 20% of your credit, 30, 40, what she was just getting into, when you start thinking about how much you have left, you don't want to use 90% of all your available credit, right? That's you use this card, use a little bit of that card, use a little bit of that card, right? You don't want to run I was like, goodness, right? So you don't want to use it all. You want to keep it low. And a big part of that is keeping it, again, somewhere between, now this is actually debatable, but low. Let's just leave it at that, low. You don't want to have it at 50%. You want to keep it as low as possible. You want to keep it at, if you could keep it at 10, keep it at 10. You want to keep it at 15, keep it at 15. But you want to keep it low. And I also want to say you want to pay it off as much as you can. So insofar as you can get to the zeros, even if you're going to use it the very next day, or as soon as you make that payment, get to that zero when you can. But you want to keep it low. That can be, yes, Wanda.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If you have a credit card and it has $1,000 limit on it,
Mm-hmm.
and you've charged it up to, say, $400,
Mm.
is that good? Is that okay? As long as you're making the payments on time. Huh?
Don't
Anybody?
spend on your needs.
Huh?
Don't spend on your needs. Not if it's an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yes,
that's over. They recommend 30%.
So that's good?
So no, that's kind of bad.
That next time that bill come around, you really got.
But depending on what it was for though, was it like emergency or if you just out there spending for fun?
No, okay, again, you have to figure that piece out, okay? But the thing, what I'm trying to say is if you've gotten to $400 and your limit is $1,000, the minute you went over that $300 mark, your credit score drops.
Yeah.
Because it's more than 30% of your credit score.
I know that.
Let me ask you guys a question, because what I
Set
found,
up, huh?
when I had credit cards and I used them a lot,
Mhm.
and they knew I used them a lot, and then I paid it off, they always gave me an increase.
That's an increase, that's fine. That's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
not reflecting on.
I'm
glad you brought that up.
Right, it's still
I
bring
don't
that.
feel like it, for me, because I also had, the next question, the credit mix, at that time, I had like a car loan, and I had an SBA loan, and like other stuff. So I didn't really see it like make my credit go down even too much, because I paid it every month.
Right.
So that's why it's like,
Did you pay it in full?
yes, always.
Okay, the only bad thing about that is like if you're gonna say you're gonna buy a house and you've done your usual charging, so you got it up over that 30%.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know what day that lender's gonna pull your credit.
That's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you may think, okay, my credit's up here all the
I pay
time,
all
right?
of it.
And yeah, so, and I'm gonna pay this off when this comes in. But when that lender pulls your credit may be much lower than what you thought. So-
Looking like I don't have, like I'm using my credit because I lack the funds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
the question, so if you max out your credit card, right,
Mhm.
and you trying to pay it off, that's not to pay it off in full, you want to, if you got the money, you want to break that down into months.
No, if you got the money to pay it off, we'll pay it off, okay?
Yeah. So again, paying it off is one of your best bets. You want to make sure that you're keeping it as low as possible, and keeping it low. And you keep it low by how much you have. And to her point, when they increase your amount, that does mean that you have a little bit more to get to 30%, right? But you don't want to just stay at 30% and like keep running it up all the time, right? You want to pay it off and keep it low as possible at the end of the day. But yes, those increases also can be tempting. So you also got to make sure that you don't think, okay, well now I got this much, I'm going to go spend it all, right? You go, okay, this is how much I have, but I still want to keep my balances low.
So when you have multiple credit cards, they only look, they count it all together.
Yes.
As far as your credit usage.
Yeah.
So even if you think that you're just spending 30% on one card, but if you do it on both cards, that still puts
Right.
you over the limit because they're counting the whole.
They look at both of them,
Yeah,
both ways.
yeah, I noticed that.
Mm.
I learned the hard way.
That's good. That's good. So yeah, you're talking about the total line of credit, and then we're talking about the different cards and how much. Right. So again, we don't want to max out one and keep the other one low. We want to make sure they're all low, right?
Actually, sometimes I pay mine off multiple times before it's actually due because I want to have, that just in case, but if I have the cash, I'll put it in there because I know I have to eventually pay it anyway.
Right,
out
right.
of my real money, so, I try to use my real money versus the credit card, most of the time, because I know I still have to pay it.
Right,
So.
right. Yes.
A good way to get that off too is doing a balance transfer, right? So you ain't gotta worry about the interest.
Yeah, but you also do have to look at, which card you're using and the interest on that card. And so we actually, I think I sent out something in the WhatsApp about that, about the zero interest credit cards. And so those are options. But at the end of the day too, right, those are limited time periods.
Right.
And so they're gonna,
Strategize that.
exactly, right. So you gotta make sure, okay, whether it's 12 months, it's 15 months, it's 21 months, that you have that paid off by the time that deadline comes around, because you get yourself in another situation, because that change, they're ready. They are ready. And honestly, I feel like that's where they're making their money, right? So they are counting on us to not make those payments in time. And so we want to make sure that we use that card and don't abuse it and move on from it, right? Get back into our regular cards and let that go. As it pertains to length of credit, we're talking about experience, right? So how long have you had credit, right? Now, some of us have an experience where, again, we didn't buy a car, we didn't open a credit card for a long time. And then some of us can say, oh, I started using credit, as soon as I could. But again, at the end of the day, this is all about, one, keeping cards open, making sure that you don't allow them to get closed, that they're not dormant. And so if you do have a card, and this is, some of the issues that come up with having multiple cards, that you can lose track of one, you can not really worry about all of them. And next thing you know, one is dormant and they're talking about closing it, or they closed it and you weren't even paying attention to it, right? So you want to make sure every card that you open is intentional, and you keep it open intentionally, right? It's not about just having it and using it and until you don't need it, but it's about making sure that you keep that open, especially when we're talking about any cards that we opened up early in our life, right? The earliest one, keep that. I have one with Capital One that I've had for so long. I just have it open just because, right? So it's just about keeping that credit history alive, that length of credit. And so that's the whole point of that card in particular. But I would even say again, that is something for us to keep in mind as the years go on. This is why we ultimately, our credit is something that we're building, right? So we want to make sure that we're continuing to do what we have to do such that it gets better and better versus I just needed that one time. I wasn't really thinking about what I'll need in the future with my credit. And then credit mix, versatility. One way I could add balance or avoid risk. Versatility. So there's different types of credit. Right, and actually, let me get some hands shown. What are some different types of credit that we've seen?
Car loan?
Yes, car loan. What's another type of credit?
Furniture credit?
Say it again.
Furniture credit?
I imagine, but that's just not something that just came to mind. But I imagine, right? You go to a furniture store, you need to purchase it, you finance it. That makes some sense. Anyone else? Types of credit? Mortgage, right? The big one, right? Any other ideas, types of credit?
The department stores, the large department stores are Amazon, not Amazon, but like, the rewards and stuff like that.
Right.
Get things on credit.
Right, store cards, right. I'm also thinking about personal loans. Right. And then we already said car loans, but again, personal loans, so ones that we could just use. Again, we have to make sure that we pay it back. But these are different types. I don't know if it's a different type of credit, but we definitely want to keep distance from the payday loans.
Actually, some people, they keep it extending it over and over, and that it's a waste of money, but it becomes a loan.
I know what you mean.
It's actually a loan because you
I know
still
what you
owe it.
It's true. And with that being said, if we continue to use those, then we can find ourselves, like you mentioned, in some more difficult situations.
Right.
And so we definitely, and I would keep that in mind. If there are some loans and some credit cards that we have higher interest rates on, and we have some lower ones on the other ones, we want to make sure we use the lower ones, right, as much as we need to. and stay away from the ones with the higher interest, right?
Yeah.
And so let's keep those types of things in mind when we do have these different options. I would say taking our lesson from the payday loans, because again, they are trying to get us with those payday loans for real. Let me see. New credit, right? So timing. So this is all about what is your most recent thing that you opened, what is the most recent thing that you purchased, whether again it's a car or it's your house. And so these types of things do help your credit a lot. But at the same time, you don't want to have a bunch of cards. Again, you don't want to have a bunch of hard inquiries on your credit every number of weeks or every number of months. You want to make sure that if you do think about purchasing a car or a house, that you consult someone about if you needed to make another purchase, would it actually help? Get another card, would it actually help your credit, or would it actually make it look kind of crazy because you're going to have another hard inquiry in a number of days or weeks or months to get that car, to get that house. So sometimes you want to let that score breathe where it's at before you get another hard inquiry, because hard inquiries do ding our credit. And so we don't want to take those lightly. But we do want to have that mix, and we do want to have new credit. And so definitely, again, write down your answers in those. But at the end of the day, you want to keep all these in mind, again, especially the ones at the top. Again, paying on time, paying early, whether it's the minimum. We don't want to aim for the minimum balance, but if it's the minimum balance or not, you want to make sure that you are paying on time. All right, weapon system, credit card levels. List your current cards by level. It's a beginner, training cards, mid-level cards, premium, prestige cards. And so honestly, I don't know if anybody has experience. You want to have experience with like a secure card, getting a card, that has a very small balance. Again, whether it's your money, it's a secure card, if it's your money, or unsecured, and they're giving you a certain line of credit, right? Those are helpful, right? Those are helpful for you understanding how it works. And I definitely encourage people to check those out. I know that I got one at the Self-Help Credit Union. Wanda, are you with them, or you check with another bank?
No, that's one.
Self-Help, yep. And so those ones, again, they just help you to go, okay, we're going to give you a card. This is what you got to do. Again, you're literally talking to a person, explaining to you how this works and what you should do. And it's all about, again, intentionally building your credit. But if you have some of those are great ways for you to get those things started. Do you want to say something? Mm-hmm.
Also, at Self-Help, in addition to having a secured card, you can go in and get a fresh start loan. The secured card means you've got to put up $300 to get the credit card. You get a fresh start loan, you don't put up anything. They're taking a chance on you as long as you're not in Texas. They'll take a chance on you, and they will give you a credit line of like $500. You'll get a loan for $500 is what it is. And they'll put that $500 in your savings account and freeze it. You can't have it. But you start paying on it. You'll pay on it like it's $43 a month. It's reported to all committed credit bureaus. So it's building your credit score. So when you finish paying it off, you've got $500 saved. Okay, so you're saving money and you're increasing your credit score at the same time, and you didn't have to put any money out of your pocket other than payments.
Right. Good. And so that's a really good deal. So again, they're not giving you the money off the bat, but once you pay it all off, that's your money. And so that's a great deal for you to not only get like a secure card, but it's a way for you to actually get it paid for. And so you have that money in your account at the end of the day. And so again, keep these in mind. I don't know if you guys can write notes on that, but Fresh Start Loan, Self-Help, Credit Union. And then honestly, if you guys are connected with any other banks or credit unions, you guys can ask them those questions. If you guys have any opportunities like that to help me build my credit, any way that you guys can help me with that. Because I know that all of us don't have those banks per se. So entry-level cards, again, secured cards, the purpose is to build the discipline and the history. A mistake that we can make is using these like emergency money instead of training tools, right? So we don't want to find ourselves, using those and finding ourselves in bigger situations because we have those. We are intentionally using those to build our credit, and that's the main goal. The mid-level cars, when you have a mid-level car, you have higher limits, better rewards. There's also more temptation, right? Because now you have $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 on that card, and you can do more with that. You have more flexibility. At the same time, you have more responsibility. Thank you. Right? You got to make sure that you are paying that back, because they'll send you that minimum balance, and you will see that number first because it's smaller and it's probably in bold, right? But you have to make sure that you are thinking about that larger number every single month, and you want to get that number down more than anything. You want to pay that minimum balance if you can't pay more, but whether or not you can, again, pay on time. That's the biggest thing. The lesson is, as limits increase, discipline must increase faster, right? You got to get more discipline about these things. And so let me ask, just for show of hands, who has an app on their phone connected to each card?
No.
That you have?
Like a wallet?
No, like your bank has an app and you can see the card on the app. Is there anyone that has a card where it's not really on their phone like that and you can't really see it? Which card is that?
My furniture card.
A furniture card? And so you just have to like go on their website or something?
Yeah, on the website or they pay it or call.
Right. So again, that takes a little bit more effort and energy. What'd you say? What is?
So yeah, I have fallen short.
Oh, a little bit, right? But even if it is an app, it honestly takes effort to open it, right? Like you can literally still ignore it and avoid it. So you have to intentionally pay attention to those things. And so I definitely want to encourage you guys with that, is checking your balances regularly. I intentionally try to check them at least weekly. If I don't check it for more than a week, I feel scared of checking it, right? I'm literally like, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on? Like, I don't know. I can't remember everything that we purchased. So if you check it often, you can stay on top of having an idea of where your credit is and what's happening with that particular card. But I do have apps for the primary two that I use, even with the Capital One, I still have access to that. They do have an app as well. So if I ever have any questions of what transactions happen, I can see that on there.
Also, some of them, they'll send you a text when your amount, the amount that you have credit on,
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what mine is.
That's what's up. And which bank is that? I think I've seen that as well. Merit, you said?
No, it's not Merit, it's Credit One.
Credit One?
Yeah, it's a credit card.
That's what's up, right? So a text message is a little bit different than a notification, but notification is good as well. And then also let's keep in mind the credit bureau apps, right? Experian, the Equifax, and TransUnion. Those are there, and they can send you alerts too. Now you may have to sign up for that. But at the end of the day, you want to at least consider signing up for those things, because again, they'll let you know when something happens that you didn't know was going to happen, or let you know again when your credit is going up or your credit score is going down. I get emails from Credit Karma. Credit Karma not only sends emails to give you notifications, but they also say great job. Like you don't get great jobs from anybody. They'll say, "Oh my goodness!" It literally says that. "Oh my goodness! Oh, okay, you are the." It gives you some props for what you're doing. But again, if you're making some mistakes, it'll let you know, right? So you want to have those in your emails, right? So keep that in mind too. This is all about keep staying aware of what's going on with our credit and being knowledgeable, and again, not running from this type of information about our credit. And then there are the premium and prestige cards with, again, large limits. They have travel rewards, business style perks, and I love these. Honestly, I will say that. But again, you got to be disciplined with these things, right? We got to still pay a lot of attention. The ninja rule is just because you can spend doesn't mean you should. Prestige cards require budget discipline, cash flow awareness, intentional payoff plans. And so always keeping in mind when you're going to pay it off. Don't get caught up in the rewards and just spend, thinking about the rewards only, because you can lose track of how much you actually owe people and how much debt you're getting yourself into, only thinking about, well, if I keep swiping, I keep getting more rewards. And that is one of the tricks that we just have to make sure it doesn't draw us into buying more things than we actually need, or even things that we really want, just because you're thinking, well, hey, for instance, we're all at dinner, put it on my card, right? No, Venmo me, send me a Cash App, pay me back, that's all good. But you don't want to find yourselves, again, making larger purchases out of the desire of points, when really what you really have to just do is let those points accumulate off your regular budget, right? Off what you normally spend. Don't allow it to push you into buying more jackets and more shoes and more hats and more things, just because you also might get some points. Like, you really want to make sure that you're, again, managing yourself, managing your emotions around your cards and how you can be using them.
It's really my childhood trauma.
Say that again. That's real. That's very real. Say it one more time.
I said it's healing my childhood trauma.
Right. It's
That's
like if
what
I'm
it
fly
is.
enough. Right. If I pull up, you know, then they gonna know, right, that I'm not who they thought I was, or not. You know, I'm not slipping. I'm on my game. Blah blah blah. All these types of things will draw us into buying way more than we actually need. And so we've got to make sure that we stay on top of those things. The next thing is authorized users. So let me ask, when it comes to that, has anyone a authorized user on someone else's card, or has anyone have any authorized users on their card? Cool. Wait. Do we have good stories with these? Good stories? One, do you have? Say it again.
I said, I do have someone on as an authorized user on my card.
Mm-hmm.
Trick is, they don't have a card.
Exactly. Exactly.
But that's improving
All
my
right.
credit score because of my credit.
Right. Say we got that card in the mail and we put it away, right, and not give it to them. But again, this is something that can help other people with their credit, and again, improves their credit history. You know, we are definitely thinking about doing this for our children, right? But this can also be, again, nephews and nieces. This can be friends and so forth, as long as you just don't give them that card, or just think that they can get the card, right? Because they may give you a call like, hey, you know, I was thinking, right? And they want to break down to you why they should have it for at least a week, or they're really responsible, because, man, we already know. We already know. And again, this is to help them out.
It's too
Get them.
tempting.
It's way too tempting. It's way, and you just
Especially if it's on somebody else.
exactly. That's your stuff.
Yeah.
That's your money. What is
Right.
it?
Nobody told you that.
And so, one thing that I do want to mention, and one that I want you to chime in too, is because when I hear about them, I'm on, you know, the internet, and they're talking about them like they're so amazing to be for other people's credit. But I don't feel like it is this big jump in credit scores. Oh my goodness, thanks for putting me on your credit card. My score jumped 70 points. I don't feel like that's how it actually works. Can you enlighten us a little bit?
It depends on you too, okay?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
if your credit stays well, you're staying on top of your game, their credit will instrumentally come up.
Uh-huh.
Okay?
It started to give a history.
Yeah, you got the history for my card.
Right.
And the fact that payments are already always made on time and stuff, so it gradually builds.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that I wanted to say is, and I don't know if you're gonna cover this or not, is please do not co-sign for anybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bar. Yes.
Nobody.
Nobody?
Nobody. Okay, so instead of co-signing, and I say that because I know most of the time, we're willing to go an extra step for our children.
Yeah.
Okay, my
Yeah.
child says, they need this bad, right? But still, do not co-sign. You can put them on as an authorized user, and their score will go up so they can qualify for it, but you don't want to co-sign for anybody.
Right.
You know what was the worst when I was younger?
Yes.
Huh.
When people used to co-sign for the cell phone, AT&T and Sprint, and then
Mm.
people would get the phones for them. That used to be the one that used to ruin
Mm.
so many relationships. I remember.
Wow.
My girlfriends would go get the phone
Right.
because, you know, now it's unlimited. But remember, before it used to be like after 7. That's
Yeah.
when it was free. But
Yeah,
before
yeah.
that, those days,
Yeah.
that's when a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
had credit.
Oh, yeah.
Cell phone.
Oh yeah, we was in those relationships being like, I got you. I ain't mad today. So we could I'm gonna pay you back this month for sure. Look, we on good terms. As soon as we get them good arguments, oh, it's a wrap.
It's a
It's a problem. Oh, it's
Then
a
you in
problem.
court.
Right. But no, I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, I don't think that's in here. But I'm pretty sure that we probably run into that. I know sometimes it's helping our kids, again, helping relatives, helping grandchildren, right? So I've seen stuff like that. And again, whether it's a car or it's a phone or it's student loans,
That's what I was
right?
gonna say, student loans.
Student
That's the
loans,
one
right?
that
And we
got
all
me.
trying to, okay, I'm gonna support
That
you.
got me.
You know?
And then she wasn't even going to school and I didn't even know it.
Oh.
You know? And
You
I'm-
know?
I'm owing all this money. Yeah. You know?
Once they fall to that loan,
That hurt. And then they don't wanna help you pay.
Oh, what I would say.
but it's they loan.
Man.
It's there.
But it's in my name.
man.
Exactly.
Uh-uh.
Yeah,
Fraud.
Right. Yeah, and I know it's hard for a parent to actually say no, especially when it is now dependent on the parent to say yes, right? It's like, I need this loan. Can you help me go to college? It's like, absolutely not. That is so hard to say.
Don't do it.
Right.
They told me don't do it.
And they told you. You
But
know,
I'm trying to help my child.
it's so real. It's so real. And so, yeah.
It didn't help.
Yeah. Very real. I knew when I was actually going to college, I actually had an issue with seeing my parents like sign all this stuff. I'm like, hold on, what's about to happen? Like, don't get me wrong, y'all try to help me out, but what does this mean? Oh my goodness. And especially all those zeros. Like, I don't know nothing about those zeros. I don't know what is about to happen. I must have paid you those zeros. I didn't understand it. And so I was very leery about that whole situation, but I've definitely seen it. And student loans is a whole other subject, but it's definitely something that we can get caught up with our relatives. But let's be very careful about that. Authorized users. Am I currently an authorized user on someone else's account? The primary account holder with authorized users or neither? If yes, answer 1. What benefit was I hoping to gain from this? And if no, would this help me if done correctly? And so honestly, this has been kind of a source of contention various days and ways with my wife, because she's on my, she's an authorized user on my stuff, and I'm an authorized user on her stuff, but my card is like the card, right? And it's like, so my credit is doing the things that her credit isn't doing. And that came up in some video I was watching a number of months ago where they're like, it's great, when you're the person that someone else is depending on, but if no one is really depending on your credit, it doesn't really do a whole lot for you like it would for the person that is the person that's authorizing other people. And so with that being said, and I definitely want to get some input, is if you're on someone else's card as an authorized user, definitely continue to find ways to build your own credit, because that's going to do something, but it's not going to do everything, right? It's going to benefit them more than it's going to benefit you. Even though it is going to benefit you, it's not going to be as beneficial. Any thoughts on that one, then? Okay. All right, rewards without losing the fight. So again, we talked on rewards for just a second. Answer honestly, do I ever carry a balance while chasing rewards? Am I thinking about flight miles? Am I thinking about the lounge? Am I thinking about, what else is there? I mean, honestly, the cashback stuff, and or again, the things that you can purchase on the card at a discounted price because you can use your rewards points. With Chase, I've been able to purchase, a lot of my Apple stuff it helped me purchase this, helped me to purchase some other things because I have those rewards points. But again, I got to make sure I'm not doing things for rewards points. Just keep swiping. We'll get there eventually, right? I'm getting there eventually versus let me try to get there fast by buying a bunch of stuff this month or this week. What rewards actually fit into my life right now? So this is big too, right? So travel isn't as big as it was. Once we just had 2 kids, right? And so we're not traveling as much for real. But we do, again, appreciate business expenses or cash back. So keep those things in mind because you may be having a lot of rewards coming for certain things on your current card and you have no plans on actually using those, right? You have no plans to really go anywhere. That's not really where you're at right now. That's not your focus. And so keep that in mind, especially when you're trying to spend to get rewards. Make sure that those rewards actually matter to your life. Let's see. Okay, we just did that one. Okay, business versus personal credit. You mentioned a little bit about SBA loans, so that's a little bit small business, right? And so our personal credit and our business.
The only thing I
Credit are
was
two
a sole
different things.
proprietor.
Say it again.
I was it was my, ex business. I
Uh-huh.
was a sole proprietor, so it was still under my social.
Okay, cool. And so you didn't have like a different EIN or anything? Okay, but at the end of the day, again, this is another form of credit and using it for certain expenses. And these are things that can ultimately help us with our business, right? If we're trying to get something started, get it going, keep it going even. And this is just a way, something I want you guys to think about who are thinking about having businesses eventually, or are thinking about having businesses sooner than later. You want to have good personal credit so that you can get business credit, right? When you have good personal credit, they're more willing to go, oh, we'll lend you this much money because look at what you're doing over here. Right. This is what you've been doing. We know who you are. And also the banks that you already are banking with, right? So I'm already banking with Chase. I'm already banking with Amex. If I wanted to get a business loan with one of them, they go, oh, again, you're already doing this with us over here. We've got you. And it could also be in the same app, right? So for instance, I do have one Amex credit card, and it's in the same thing with my personal Amex credit card and my personal, actually I have a business checking account with Amex, but it's all in the same app. So it's all visible. And I'm like, that's what's up. I don't have to go to this one and go to that one and keep track over there and keep track over there. And so these are things to keep in mind when you, one, are doing well with your credit on purpose, but then two, when you start going, hey man, I actually do want to start this thing. I need some capital. This is one way that you can get that capital. You can also look into grants. You can also, again, fundraise, but this is a way to have some money for that business when you're trying to get some things off the ground and maybe get the website or whatever, some of those purchases. Personal loans. Have I used personal loans mostly to fix emergencies, consolidate debt, or fund lifestyle choices? So honestly, I haven't done a personal. Who's done a personal loan? I have not done a personal loan yet. Yeah.
I did a personal loan when I wanted to purchase a car.
Uh-huh.
And it gave you the down payment.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
And that was through
it gave you way more than you needed, so.
Nice.
It created more problems.
Oh no. She said, yeah, that was a whole story. So you got the loan for the down payment, and then you had to pay them back.
They gave me more than I needed.
Right. So they really hooked you up.
Yeah. So, but then I had to pay it back.
Exactly. You had to pay them back, and you still got to pay for the car.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's real. And again, money looks so good when it's on paper. Or anything was it a check?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
thank you.
It was nice at the beginning.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. And so you got to pay the car note, and then you got to do that. And then we didn't think about insurance and gas.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
All that.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. But those are options, right? Those are things that we can also think about. Again, having what we were talking about earlier, different forms of credit, right? Credit mix. So that's something that you can use. And this is the thing, when it comes to a card, a personal loan, whatever it is, if you're doing these things to build your credit, then you have the right mindset in terms of what exactly you have to do. The whole point is to pay off the stuff, to pay it back. And what I would even say is to get this stuff when you don't really need it. Right? Swipe that card because you know you got the money. Don't swipe that card When you don't, right? Swipe it because you do have it. Hey, let me borrow $20. Man, you got $20. I know, but let me have it. And just so I can say I can pay you back. That's really what it's like. But if it comes down to, man, I need $20 and I ain't even got it, then somebody go, well, how much you gonna pay me back? And you get yourself in a number of those situations because you need the money now.
Right.
So with that being said, I'm thinking about this now. When you have less coming in or you have less that than you normally have, you want to use the card less, right? You want to bring that down some and let that reflect in how much you can actually start paying people back, because you want to budget whether or not you're using the card, but you want to make sure that you're using the card as it reflects in what's in your bank account. If you can't pay back that $3,000, you can't pay back that $2,000, don't spend that $2,000 on that card, right? To the best of your ability, right? Sometimes it may be needs, but at the end of the day, fluctuate, work with your budget. Don't just spend normally just because that's what you normally do. If you don't have as much as you used to have, bring it down. Business credit built around cash flow, separates risk, requires structure, LOC, EIN, and your different types of accounts. Ninja Mindset says personal credit builds stability and business credit builds scale. Okay. All right. Credit Ninja code. One habit I will stop. Right. One habit.
Think I'm Diddy.
It's
too late. Guess what? If y'all mind went that way,
wait,
We can't help it no more.
I said,
we can't use that reference no more.
what is this? Oh man. Oh my God. Right. One habit I will start. I will start doing this. I will start checking it more, paying more attention, right? I will start, and one habit I will protect.
My emergency fund.
I hear that. And it says habits to protect. So I'm wondering if it's more like, again, I'm doing something already, right? I don't have to start it. I'm already doing this, but I will make sure I keep doing this, right? I will not let something else stop it. I will not let something else make it complicated, right? I will make sure that I keep doing what I'm currently doing, right? Especially if it's a good habit, And then my credit ninja affirmation, I use credit with intention, discipline, and control. Right? So we're literally controlling not only our emotions around certain purchases, right, but our actions, right? And I do want to get you guys' input on this a little bit, because this is some of the meat and potatoes around budgeting and around managing our credit. Again, that has nothing to do with what is on the numbers, or rather, I say, looking at the budget sheet, but it has to do with what we're saying to people, what we do when we're given certain opportunities to go spend and go certain places, and how do we actually say no? How do we actually say later? How do we actually say, I'm gonna get back to you, and then, don't get back, right? How do we actually figure out how we're gonna continue to be in good relationships with the folks that we love and we hang out with, even when we wanna spend less and we can't do what we wanna do with them, or we can't do what they wanna do. We go, man, like, can we still kick it and just not spend anything?
You explain You know what? You tell somebody what your situation is, and it's on them to want to press it. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. And everybody is pretty much suffering in need, so they should understand,
That's real. Especially if they want to, right? Especially if they want to.
And if they don't understand, oh well, I told you.
Yeah.
It ain't like you ignorant.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, that's real. You know, we get in those we get in those habits of things being a certain way for a certain amount of time, and the next thing you know, we have to change it up, and we feel bad for changing it up, right? We want to go.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do, right? And so those are the types of things that is some of the hardest parts about it. So I do want to ask, like, how has that worked for you guys? What is something that you had to do to communicate, like Karen mentioned, that you can't spend a certain amount or you can't go a certain place? What does that look like?
You know, just like with my grandkids, you know, I'm always spending on them, but I told them, I said, this year, you know, grandma can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And they understand, you know, because they know grandma always helping, you know, so.
Right.
But I explained it to them, so they, you know, they'll know.
Yeah.
And if they like it, it's okay. If they don't, I mean, grandma said what she said.
Right. What you gonna do to grandma? I hear that. Anyone else? Again, you know, what to say no to friends or family, later for friends.
When my daughter was younger, and I'll tell her something, if I say maybe, I might or I don't know, that means yes to her. So I have to just come right out and say, no, Vanessa, no, maybe it might mean yes to her.
Right. She's like, all right, I'll be back in the morning. Wait, what?
Mama, you said you Vanessa.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Mama, no. Then that's the end of the story.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, you do.
But
Yes.
you know, my kids used to, I say no, and they'll just keep asking. And
Right.
eventually,
Oh,
I say yeah.
okay.
And my daughter one
They
time
know.
told me, she said, Mama said, all I have to do is keep saying it, and you
Oh, my
eventually.
goodness.
And that's when they stopped me from doing
Right.
it, because then
Yeah.
you play it.
They know. They know.
Uh-huh.
They know. They know the eyes and the look. You know. They know the tone of voice.
Right.
You know that they learn when they this little.
But you know, that comes from being a single parent, you know,
Uh-huh.
because you pay it both sides, you know.
Yeah.
You're trying to balance, you know, so
Right.
I hear you.
it was rough.
I imagine. I totally understand.
Tell me.
Yeah, Wanda.
Oh, I was gonna say, I had a client who, speaking to this, of trying to change her habits and things that she was doing. She had a habit of going out with her girlfriends every Friday night.
Every night,
At
right,
some
right.
restaurant, eating big time, blowing lots of money, and so we worked on the budget. So what she finally did was suggested to them, she said, look, I'm trying to save money. Why don't we just, everybody bring a dish, you can come over to my house, we can kick it there, we can play cards, we can do whatever. And so that's what they all started doing, instead of going out to eat all the time.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So instead of spending $60 on your meal, you spend $20 or $15. Everybody brings it together, right?
Very nice.
That's real. Yeah, potlucks definitely save money. Definitely. And that's partly why Rakia was like, we gotta kick it so we can save some money and come together. And again, spend low. Actually, we did a potluck this Sunday at my church. We, had a financial conversation, but I was like, we could do a potluck. I don't have to spend $20 on something crazy to just feed myself.
Yeah.
We could spend $5 to $10 and feed everybody for a little piece of this. Some people brought this and that, and those again really help saving money. But you're still having a good time with folks, right? You're still having a good time, especially if people can cook. And sometimes people can cook. Man, sometimes, because it ain't all. Sometimes you be like, who brought the ambitious, dishes like lasagna? Okay, calm down. Well, just get some ribs, some chicken, right? Don't be trying to do too much, Talking about I'm sorry, right? So, no. Just keep it simple. But let me ask again, just open up for Q&A with you guys' cards, with you guys' experience with cards. Again, I did inquire about credit reports and credit scores. How are you guys doing? And then again, is there anything that you guys are thinking you'll have to work on your credit for the near future? Any type of purchases that you guys ultimately really want to make? But I do want to just open the floor to that, because I know that again, situations vary, and things change too, Yes.
So when you go in the furniture store and you get something on credit, how do you find out your balance? You don't wanna be paying forever.
That's very true. And honestly, I would actually, yeah, reflect that back. I haven't bought any furniture on credit personally.
I got a furniture card from Ashley Furniture Store, and that they use a third party called Synchrony Bank, and they so I go on Synchrony and put in my login information, and it tell me what my balance is, and
You go where?
it's called Synchrony Bank. They have a third party, like, so Ashley Furniture, they're not a bank, so they use a third party bank, and so that bank is where I log on to online, and they tell me my balance, and then I just pay it, according to whatever that balance is. You can pay your minimum payment or however much you want, and then you just go online and check it.
Care credits for them too.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of Victoria's Secret, I think Victoria's Secret, a few places.
Yeah, Victoria use Synchrony, and I think, Nordstrom got their own system, but yeah, Synchrony use a lot. They're over a lot of,
Well, you can walk in the store and ask, right?
retail.
The same thing with like Mattress Firm or something like that.
Right,
So-
I imagine, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can apply for a furniture card online. You don't need to, like, on whatever websites you're going to. Most of them you can do it online, and then it's like auto integrated for them to send the information to the bank.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, okay,
Word.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And as it pertains to the Credit Ninja Battlefield, I don't need you guys to turn that in as much as I want you guys just to keep that information and understand, again, that there are a number of obstacles that are out there. And I've had some conversations with folks. I've listened to some folks who worked at banks. And again, it really does sound like they want you to not know. They want you to not understand how this stuff works. And so it is really upon us, not only as individuals, but as a community, to get the information to one another, right? Whether we're talking about our family or our friends, right? And letting people know, have you guys heard of this? And just starting those conversations, because I promise you, I ain't never heard Bank of America be like, we offering a free webinar, seminar, come through, help you right? Just come and understand, right? Because like maybe you don't really know how like this whole banking thing works, and we want you to understand. I've seen some folks say, they got fired because they were breaking stuff down to other folks, sharing, how this stuff works and what it looks like and what you got to do. And so it's really concerning, right? Because the information, it's out there, but a lot of people, right, aren't interested. They don't want to take the time. They don't want to put the energy into it, especially when we're young. But we recognize that information has to get out, because it gets us into a lot of trouble if we don't know. Do you want to share something? Okay. So in terms of the budget sheets, let me get those out to you guys.